Pick some winners and then we say, let's go. So come on.
Live. It's Monday, everybody. 2 weeks to go in the regular season. This is Betting Weekly Hardball. I'm Adam the Bull. He's professional handicapper Chris Macero, and we've got a lot to talk about today. Got about half a slate, 9 games on the docket today. 14 days to go in the regular season. We'll still be around for the postseason, but not many days left. We have a lot of games and just 14 days to go in the regular season. Who knows about teams' motivations? A lot to play for, though, Chris. I think a few weeks ago we all thought, well, maybe these divisions and wild cards are locked up, but not so fast. Some of these teams have come back to the pack.
Yeah, it feels like it's amazing you say that. Only 2 weeks, 2 weeks left. It feels like yesterday we were in the middle of March Madness and baseball was kicking off in March, and now we're already third week of the NFL season almost, and baseball is almost over. But like you mentioned, a lot of games and a lot of things undecided. A lot of teams are free falling. A couple of teams that you would think were locks for the playoffs, they're just not done yet. So we'll see what happens. A couple games tonight I'm interested in based on some pitching matchups and some home road splits. So we'll see if we can find a few winners for everyone.
All right, let's jump right into it with the marquee games of the day, and that's we begin with the big battle in Houston, the Rangers and Astros. The American League West is really the biggest story right now in baseball. The Mariners, who've won 9 in a row, we'll talk about them later, have moved in front of the Astros by a game. The Rangers are 3 back for the division. All 3 would be, 2 of the 3 would be in the playoffs right now. Right now, the Rangers are on the outside looking in. Guardians in the mix as well, but they're not playing today. But Rangers and Astros going head-to-head, a sweep either way could eliminate the losing team, especially if the Rangers got swept. They'd probably be done if they got swept. But the Rangers are playing better baseball than the Astros. However, in the first game of this series, the Astros are the favorites. They're at home. It's Jack Leiter and Jason Alexander. Rangers had their 6-game winning streak end yesterday, Chris. Can they start a new one, or do you expect them to lose again today?
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup here. It's pretty much do or die for Texas. They're 2 back of Houston. They're 3 back of Seattle. So any slip-ups here, they're in some serious trouble. But I kind of like Houston. I mean, the home road splits have been there all year. We've discussed it many times how Texas struggles on the road, 32 and 43. Flip that around the other way, the Astros 43 and 32 at home. And what I really like here is the fact that Leiter has really struggled on the road. The Rangers have lost 5 of his last starts overall. 5 of his last 8 starts overall they've lost. But if you go back, his last 12 starts, the Rangers are only 2 and 10. His last 12 starts on the road. It's a huge sample size. Does not pitch well on the road. 3 and 6, 4.45 ERA. Now I'm going to back this up though. I'm going to play Houston probably for 2 units, but I'm going to back it up with a little bit on the over because Alexander has been leaking a little bit of oil lately as well. Has a home ERA above 5, 30 innings pitched. He's given up 7 home runs. I expect Houston to get the win tonight, but I am going to be a little cautious and back it up with an overplay. I'm going to bet a little bit more on Houston than I do on the over just because I don't like the way that Leiter performs on the road. So Astros and over for me.
Yeah, to back that up a little bit, Jason Alexander has he's got a little bit of a streak like our guy Quinn Priester. The Astros have won the last 8 games he started. Overall, he's started 13 games for the Astros this season, and the Astros are 12-1 in those 13 games. And for whatever reason, they've scored a ton of runs. Here's the amount of runs the Astros have scored in games started by Jason Alexander. 13, 18, 2, 7, 8, 7, 5, 7, 4, 8, and 3. They've scored a boatload of runs. This happens, it's nothing like there's no specific thing you can necessarily point to, but this seems to happen all the time. There'll be one guy on a team where, for whatever reason, everybody scores. Everybody hits when this guy pitches, and it appears to be Alexander for the Astros right now.
Yeah, that's a great point, and it's a great combination where you got Leiter who doesn't pitch well on the road.
Yep.
And it could be just a perfect combination of a nice Astros team that plays well at home with a lot of runs, and hopefully we get those combo. The combo goes together and we get Astros and over. I would be a little nervous about the only thing that would be give me pause is that Texas Texas definitely needs it more than the Astros, but
Yep.
these games in September when the team needs it, it doesn't mean they're going to get it. So I definitely lean Astros, and I definitely lean the over.
All right, Astros in the over in the first marquee game. Second marquee game features two teams that we hadn't thought about much all season, especially the Diamondbacks. They've kind of been off the radar with all their pitching injuries, but both are still very much alive in the wild card race in the National League. The Giants are a game and a half back of the Mets for the final wild card spot, and the Diamondbacks just 2 behind the Mets for the final wild card spot. The Mets did win yesterday, but overall been playing terrible baseball, leaving the door open. I just talked about a sweep in the Astros Texas series. Well, if the Giants or Diamondbacks, either of these teams, got a sweep, they could be ahead of the Mets by the end of the series. It's entirely possible. Wei Tang will pitch for the Giants. Zach Gallen for the Diamondbacks. What do you like here?
Well, as you mentioned here, both teams very close together. And I kind of did a double take when I looked to see how close Arizona was. And I'm like, wow, they're only a half a game behind the Giants.
Yep.
Giants kind of spit the bit a little bit on Saturday, had a nice 4-1 lead against the Dodgers. The potential was there for them to be a half a game out behind the Mets, or even it might have been a tie. It might have been able to overtake them actually on Saturday night if they had won that game. Mm-hmm. They end up losing. They lose yesterday to the Dodgers. So now they're 1.5 back behind the Mets, and they're rolling out Tang, who you can't have much confidence at all. And
Nope.
The guy's 2-4 with a 7.54 ERA. He never goes more than 5 innings. He's given up 4, 2, 2, 6, and 5 earned runs in 5 of his 6 starts. So not much confidence in Tang. But on the flip side, you have Gallen, who's not the same pitcher as he's been these past few years. He has great stats against the Giants, but I'm not factoring that in at all. He pitched just last week against the Giants. He only gave them 6 innings, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 home runs, 3 walks. So I got to go with the over in this game. I know it's a high total, 9.5, but you're going to get runs off Tang. And Gallen just faced the Giants and wasn't that great last week. So another familiarity factor. That ballpark in Arizona, a lot of runs get scored there. I'm on the over 9.5 in this game. Like I mentioned, it's a big total, but I expect a lot of runs, especially early in this game with Tang and Gallen.
What's interesting about Gallen, too, is, as you said, it's not been a good year. He was terrible for the first 4 months of the season. April, May, June, July. He was absolutely awful. He had a 5.60 ERA when August started. But in August, he was sensational. Pitched 35 innings, gave up only 10 runs, had a 2.57 ERA in August. His first start in September, he was great again, 6 shutout innings against Texas. So he had 7 starts in a row where he had given up 3 runs or less. He had an ERA just over 2 for a 7-start stretch before, as you mentioned, he got smoked by the Giants in his last start. So, yeah, it's the over feels like a very good play in this game.
Yeah, I just feel like both of these teams, the pitching is just not there lately for these two teams. Unless it's like Robbie Ray and Verlander kind of found it a little bit. Yeah. Even Webb got hit around the other day. So, yeah, he did. And the Diamondbacks, they haven't had pitching all year. Too many injuries. Burns was hurt. One of their other top line starters was hurt. So, taxing, and we know the Diamondbacks bullpen is terrible. So I expect runs in this game. Both teams need it. It's going to be a desperate type of game that, pull out all the stops. I just feel like 9.5. I know it's a high total, but I feel like this will be a game where there's a lot of runs scored, especially early with these two starting pitchers.
All right, our last marquee game features two teams that are definitely going to the playoffs, or in the Dodgers case, I don't think it's definite yet, but, as close to definite as you can get. The Phillies are one of 2 teams, along with the Brewers, that have locked up a playoff spot. They're the only 2 teams in baseball that have clinched a playoff spot already. Obviously, the Phillies are playing just outstanding baseball. They've won 9 of 11, 2 games back in Milwaukee for the best record in the league. The Dodgers had played terribly for much of the second half, but played the Rockies and the Orioles. That'll help you get back on track. They've won 6 of 7. They're still up 2.5 on the Padres. Ranger Suarez and Emmett Sheehan will pitch in this game. 10:10 Eastern start. This is a big one. What do you make of this game?
Well, it is a big game, and you figure it's like you said, marquee game, two of the best teams in the National
Yep.
League. But both of them are coming off a huge rivalry series. The Dodgers were at San Francisco, Phillies were hosting the Mets, and now they both have to travel. And you got two really good pitchers who Sheehan has really pitched well of late. Suarez has been unbelievable on the road all year, 2.05 ERA, 6-4. I just feel like this is an under type of game. Both big rivalries, both traveling. I can see both pitchers pitching well. 8.5 seems like a high total for this game, unless the wind's blowing out at Dodger Stadium, which I don't believe it is. I feel like this could be a sleepy game where it's 2-1 after 5 or 6, or even 1-0 after 5 or 6. Just due to the fact that there's not that much motivation for the Phillies. They took care of business against the Mets. They're going to win the division. They're locked into the playoffs already. And, the Dodgers got a little breather room after beating the Giants 2 out of 3. So I just feel like there's not going to be the need factor, like, say, for the Rangers-Astros series. Both these teams are, pretty much locked into the playoffs. Got two good pitchers going, some travel concerns. I just like the over 8.5. The under 8.5 here.
By the way, Ranger Suarez, last 4 starts, he's gone 24 innings and allowed 1 run. That's it. 1 run in 24 innings. He's given up 20 hits, 6 walks, and 29 strikeouts. So he has been, and no home runs. He has been absolutely lights out his last 4 starts. He's pitched great for much of the season. He had back-to-back bad starts in early August, but since then he's just been great. Back to what he was all season long. All right. Before we move on to the rest of the docket, I want to let you know that right now you can sign up for betting tips through the Bet Weekly Studios newsletter. If you like what you hear on our shows, sign on for the newsletter, get exclusive tips and the Free Insider magazine. Sign up for free at bettingweeklystudios.com. The Amish farmer says the teams that are making the playoffs are the teams that are making the playoffs now. He says he's standing by that. I'm staying away until the playoffs. So Amish farmer is not going to bet the 2 weeks, I guess, is what he's saying. Chris, what do you make of that strategy? Staying away till the playoffs.
I don't believe him.
I don't believe him either.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I felt like the card looked pretty interesting today. There's a couple angles I like. Maybe we'll go 0-5. I'm hoping not, but I really like a couple of these angles, and I feel like the travel aspect this late in the season is a factor. Teams with lousy bullpens are a factor. Teams with good home records versus bad road records are a factor. So hopefully we can get a little lucky tonight.
All right, let's get to the next game. The Blue Jays and the Rays. Trey Savage. This kid, they've been talking about him for a couple of years. He's the number 1 prospect in the Blue Jays system. Blue Jays will already have a quality deep pitching staff, calling up their top prospect to make his major league debut tonight. The Jays have won 4 in a row. Don't know who's starting for the Rays. It was up in the air. I'll double check to see if this. Oh, no. Okay, that's right. Joe Boyle. So they just announced about an hour ago. I forgot about this. Joe Boyle, who's kind of a journeyman. He's with Oakland. He's been up and down with Toronto since coming over from the A's. He's been terrible. He'll be on the hill for the Rays tonight.
Well, listen, Toronto looks like they're going to win the division. 4 up on the Yankees, 5.5 up on Boston. They came in and Baltimore was hot, and they swept Baltimore. The only thing is, hey, we don't really know what your Savage is going to be. He can be the best pitching prospect. Sometimes the team brings up the best pitching prospect and he gets ripped. Yep. Sometimes he pitches a great game. We just don't know. But I do like the over in this game. We get warm temperatures. You got Boyle in his last 4. He's given up 20 hits and 14 1/3 innings pitched, 15 earned runs, 4 home runs. So we know that the Blue Jays team can hit. They can hit home runs. For the year, he's got 36 2/3, 30 hits. So this guy's going to give up a bunch of hits. He's got a high ERA, 5.40. So I expect there to be some runs tonight. I don't expect the Savage to go deep in the game as his first major league start, his major league debut. Maybe you'll get 4 or 5 innings out of him. The Blue Jays bullpen has been a little questionable the second half of the season. So I expect some runs. It's 9. You can get even money, I believe, even 8.5 at Bet Rivers. So, at 8.5, I really like it. I like to go over in this game. There's a lot of runs get scored in that that ballpark down in Tampa, especially with the warm temperatures.
Yeah.
And, a pitcher like Boyle who likes to give up the long ball.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm with you on the over there too. I mean, it does seem like a game that could. I mean, this could be one of these crazy 13-12 games. It wouldn't shock me if there was something like that. Now we got to. I hate to do this, but I got to give the Yankees credit. They're playing good baseball after playing lousy for a couple of months. I despise the Yankees, but they've won 14 of 20. We know the long history of their ownage of the Twins. And they've owned the Twins even when the Twins have been a good team. The Twins stink. Yankees have a very easy schedule the final 2 weeks of the season. Tonight, Carlos Rodon and Simeon Woods Richardson. I don't know that you can bet. I mean, you can't bet on the Twins, of course. So what do you make of this? I'm surprised the Yankees aren't even a bigger favorite than minus 182.
There's a couple of different things here.
Yeah.
It's a big dilemma because you have the Sunday night travel spot where the Yankees were at Fenway and they have to go on the road. And this angle for years has been gold.
Huge. Yeah.
You take against the team that has to travel after the Sunday night game. But as you mentioned, the ownage by the Yankees over the Twins is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Since 2021, 22-8. Let's go back since 2000 when they didn't play each other as much because they had the rivalries in the division. But since 2000, the Yankees are 116-52 versus the Twins. I mean, it's just an absurd number. And like you mentioned, the Twins were good. They were in the playoffs a bunch of times throughout these years. And, I mean, they could never beat them in the playoffs. I still have nightmares of Joe Nathan blowing save after save in the playoffs versus the Yankees. So, it's just one of those games I'm probably going to stay away. Just if it wasn't the travel angle from Sunday night on the road, it would be probably like a max bet on the Yankees. But because of that, I'm a little cautious because I've seen it a million times where the team goes on the road and they just, for some reason, after the Sunday night game, they just don't have it. And especially after Red Sox-Yankees, big emotional rivalry. They got the first 2 out of 3 there. So I'm just going to stay away from the game. Couple different angles, though, that are conflicting. That's why it's hard to pull a trigger.
Yeah, fair enough. That is a trend that's hard to bet against, but you obviously don't trust the Twins to take care of business in that situation. All right, I know you posted here, fishy line of the day, Cubs at Pirates, 640 in Pittsburgh, Jameson Taillon and Braxton Ashcraft. Cubs.
Okay, so the Pirates have lost 8 of their last 9 after having a little mini run there a couple of weeks back where they kind of looked good. And now you got the Cubs, one of the better teams in baseball, and they're only minus 113, minus 120, depends where you look. And I just find it's a fishy line. And, I go back to the fact that Pittsburgh, even though they've lost 8 of 9 and they've lost 3 in a row at home, they have a pretty good home record, 42-33. Ashcraft's not going to give you – he's not going to give you, 7 innings, but he's probably going to give you, 3 to 5 innings of solid pitching for the Pirates. And Taillon, he's just not that great. He's got a 9-6 record, but he's got a 4.99 ERA on the road. Pirates hitters batting .271 against him. So I think I'm going to lean to the Pirates here. Probably have a small bet on the Pirates just because the line looks a little fishy to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to lean back on the Pirates. Decent home record, 42-33, 9 games over. And just take a stab with the Pirates because I feel like the line looks a little questionable.
Cubs have been a good road team. They're 39-35 on the road, which is tied with the Yankees for second best in baseball. Only the Brewers are more than 4 games over 500 on the road. The Cubs have won 4 of 5, but, I watched them a lot, and they're not playing particularly crisp baseball offensively. They've been pitching well for the most part, but the offense has been a bit of a mess lately. Pete Crow Armstrong in a huge slump. Kyle Tucker on the injured list. Seiya Suzuki's missed 3 games in a row. He's been sick. They called up Owen Casey, their top prospect, and he went on the concussion injured list. So they got some issues. I mean, they got Hap hitting, and they got, Nico Horner's been pretty good lately, but not much else for the Cubs offensively. So who knows? All right, let's get to the rest of the games on the 9-game docket today. Braves and Nats playing out the string. The Nationals actually have a chance to finish ahead of the Braves in the standings. They're only 4 that's 4 games back. So who knows? I don't know if either team cares about that, but the Nats are at home. Strider and Parker. Anything here?
Yeah, I don't have a play in the game. You kind of want to go over just because Strider and Parker are just not having good years. I mean, Strider's road ERA is over 5. Parker's home ERA is over 5. But there's a big, the big total 9.5, and the wind is supposed to be blowing in a little bit, so that gave me a little pause. Neither one of these teams has got much going on. Braves are 14 under on the road. The Nats are 12 under at home. So just kind of like a stay away. I guess based on the price, the fact that they still price Strider at minus 175, I mean, this game should pretty much be a pick-em game. I mean, I don't understand that price. So if you want to get involved in a game like this, you need to bet this game. I would say you have to go with the Nationals just based on the value with the odds. Both of these lineups hit each other's opposing pitcher pretty well. 325 versus Parker and 283 versus Strider. So, maybe the over gets there. I was looking at it over until I saw that the wind was blowing in, so that's why I passed on it. But just could never lay the Braves with that road record with Strider going up against the Nats at minus 175. That seems extremely high. I'm just gonna stay away from this game. As I was joking, it looks like a beer league pitching matchup.
Yeah, right.
Softball matchup.
Yeah, I know the way these guys have pitched. By the way, the Braves have lost their last 6 games that Strider has pitched, and overall they've lost 10 of the last 12 games he's pitched. In fact, for the season, the Braves have only won 5 games that he's pitched all season, and they're all against bad teams except for 2 against the Mets for whatever reason.
I was looking at maybe a Yurfie, but for some reason Strider, he pitches well in the first inning. So right. I guess it's like the second time around the lineup, he really breaks down. Right. Just one of those games. I mean, you're really a true degenerate if you're involved in this game.
Well, speaking of degenerates, the Orioles and the White Sox. White Sox trying to avoid losing 100 games. We talked about this last week. They have 12 games left on the season. They've got to go. They got to play 500 baseball the rest of the season. They got swept by the Guardians over the weekend. They got to go 6-6 the rest of the way to avoid 100 losses, which would be pretty impressive considering they set the record last year for the worst record in the history of the sport. But they're facing a pitcher who's pitched well. Orioles and White Sox. Anything here?
Yeah, I mean, you were given the guarantee, the Adam the Bull guarantee that they weren't going to lose 100 on Friday. And then what happened? What happened? Well, it's good though because I have Cleveland most wins in September. They're one back of the Phillies, who have 10 wins already. It's unbelievable. The Phillies how well they played this month. This is if you're on this game, it's got to be Orioles or pass. Bradish has pitched really well. 2-1 in the 3 starts this year. 17 innings pitched, only 12 hits, 5 earned runs. He has given up 2 home runs, but overall, for a guy who's been out over a year, he's pitched fairly well. Burke, just middling pitcher, 4.02 ERA at home. I guess it'd be Orioles or pass, but I don't want to bet this game. Both teams off 3-game losing streaks. I'll just let it play out and see what happens.
Yeah, smart call on that one. Final game that we haven't talked about. These teams, I guess, technically still alive for the playoffs. What a terrible weekend for the Reds. With the playoffs, kind of right there, possibly. They go and play the A's, and they get swept by the A's. Now they go to St. Louis. Both Reds are a game under 500. They're still in the mix for the wild card. They're 2.5 back. The Cardinals are 4 back. Not eliminated, but man, these teams, especially the Reds, they had a chance and they just crapped the bed.
Yeah, so I need over 78.5 wins. We've mentioned it a bunch of times throughout the season. I need 5 more wins. So they go out to Sacramento. They're facing Severino, who his troubles at home have been chronicled all season long. Yeah. He spins a gem. I mean, guys were on base the whole game, but they just couldn't get any runners home. I believe the Reds were shut out. Then Saturday they jump out to they got a big lead. They blow that, and then yesterday again big lead. They blow it. So just a disastrous series, like you mentioned, for the Reds. But tonight they're going up against Liberatore, who faced the Reds on August 29th. 5 innings pitched, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 home runs. Previously in the year out of the bullpen in early May, he came out for 3 innings, 2 more hits, 2 earned runs, another home run. So the Reds do hit Liberatore pretty well. I'm going to take a shot here, split it up, go over team total for the Reds, first 5, and over team total for the Reds for the game. I feel like I don't know if they're going to win this game or not, but I feel like they're going to score. They're going to score some runs. They have been hitting well. The pitching has just been terrible, and Littell's been just as bad with the home run ball. I expect a lot of runs in this game. Maybe this game just does go over because it's two guys who give up a bunch of home runs. I would try to be on the Reds, but another travel factor. You're up in Sacramento. They're going to fly into Cincinnati. 3-game losing streak. Maybe the season is over. I'm just hoping I can get 5 more wins here. I'm not sure. They're going to go 5-8 the last 13, but I don't have much confidence. I mean, this Reds team is just spiraling down the drain.
Yeah. Let me get some comments from the YouTube chat here before we wrap up. Let's see. Amish Farmer did say he might do some series bets. He said the Phillies are plus 120 to win their series against the Dodgers. You like that, Chris? Phillies against the Dodgers plus 120 to win the series?
Well, I do kind of like that because I feel like anytime a team comes off a rival series like they just did with the Giants, it got them some breather room because the Padres couldn't sweep the Rockies for some reason. They just couldn't do it on Friday night, couldn't come up with any runs. So, they have a 2.5-game lead on the Padres. The Padres are idle tonight. So, could be 3, could be 2, but it's really an extra game because the Dodgers have the tiebreaker with the Padres for the series, and they don't play those 1-game tiebreakers anymore. Baseball really, just to save time, they don't play those really great 1-game playoffs as they used to do, which, I used to really like those. But, yeah, I can see the Phillies pulling it off. Anytime you can get the Phillies plus money on anything, you got to like it. Yeah. Especially, they're not at home where they play so much better, but Phillies are just a fun team to watch and a lot of home runs, a lot of exciting moments this year for the Phillies. Really, really enjoy watching the Phillies play.
City by the Bay also likes the Phillies over 3.5 tonight. And also joined us a little late, said, anyone want to tell me why the Cubs only minus 120? We talked about that earlier, but you like the Phillies over 3.5 tonight?
Sheehan has pitched well. Like, I've been critical of him. Just, I'm like, wow, the Dodgers keep trotting this Sheehan guy out. He comes in, he's a bullpen guy, he's a starter, but overall, he's really pitched well the last, he hasn't even been a starter the whole time. They bounced him around. He's pitched really well under any circumstance. So maybe if you can get him out of the game by the 5th inning, maybe get 1 or 2 across versus him, I would like it because, as I've mentioned 100 times, the Dodgers bullpen leaves a lot to be desired. So yeah. I'm kind of on the under in that game. I don't feel like the emotions for the series are that high because both teams are pretty much locked in. So in the travel, so I'm an under guy in the game. So I'm not going to endorse the over Phillies just due to the fact I'm on the under in the game. I can't be giving out over Phillies and under in the game.
Makes sense. All right, let's recap your picks, your official picks for today, Chris. What do you got?
All right, so definitely going on the Astros here. I feel like it's a good matchup for them at home. They play well at home. And Leiter, as I mentioned, his last 12 road starts, the Rangers are 2-10. So we're going to go on the Astros. We're going to back it up a little bit with the over in that game, as Alexander has not pitched great, leaking a little bit of oil. But to your point, they score a lot of runs when he pitches. So we like the Astros for maybe 2 units, and we're going to go 1 unit on the over. I like the over in this next game. Diamondbacks, Giants. You got Tang and Gallen, 2 guys who haven't pitched great all year. Tang only pitches, 3 or 4 innings, gives up a bunch of runs every start except 1. So 5 of his 6 starts, a lot of runs there. That ballpark tends to play to a lot of overs. So I like over in Arizona, San Francisco. I like under in the Phillies, like we just mentioned. And I like over in Tampa Bay, Toronto. Warm weather game. We get a guy who's first time out Major League game, probably not going to go deep. Boyle tends to give up a lot of home runs. And to the commenter, the fishy line of the day is the Cubs Pirates. So I'm going to take. I'm not going to take the bait. I'm going to go against it. I'm going to take Pittsburgh plus 107. I just think something's weird with that line. Why are the Cubs only minus 120?
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for today. There is no Betting Weekly Fast Break today because the WNBA has no games. Tomorrow's Betting Weekly Hardball will feature Doug Kazarian and Albert Wynn. Chris will be back with Doug both on Wednesday and Friday. I'm off from this show the rest of the week. I'm headed to New York on Wednesday for a couple of days. So everybody, good luck with your bets, and we'll talk to you next time on Betting Weekly Hardball.